Next up is SSI's own Norman Eldridge, who will be talking about SSI's roadmap, future plans, and also things on the wish list.
Can you hear me okay? Yep. Okay, me again. Repeat appearance. So switching gears a little bit, I'm going to talk about the SSI roadmap. We've got a lot of teams at SSI. They work in different product areas. The idea here is to give you a bit of an idea of the type of things, the areas that we're planning and doing work, development. I'm going to cover a few things. If you've been watching the latest releases, we've been coming out with transfer features and the subscription advantage pack for transferring information between projects. That's going to be migrating to actual WorkShare product families, WorkShare transfer. So you'll be hearing him talk about that a bit. Some of the things we're doing in outfitting and streamlining areas, some of our structure and hull developments. I just put it streamlined shipbuilding, but you'll see what I mean by that. Some change management areas that we're working on, planning to work on, and distributed teams. Pedro touched upon that, some of the ideas around there, and we've got some work in that area in the works and in the plans. WorkShare transfer really fits under empowered engineering, a multi-hull management solution, managing changes across multiple hulls. The idea is to create a highly automated solution. And some of the areas we're looking at over the last few releases, transferring parts, transferring production, logical stuff. It's been mostly part-centric. We're really looking at is those are the areas we've already been working on, and over the next year or two, as we release the WorkShare transfer product family, be looking at visualizing those changes, integrating WorkShare transfer, working with Ship Explorer, reuse of the welds and the project equipment list factors a lot in several areas, reuse of plate nests and profile plots, and catalog edit and compare synchronization. So that you're drilling over that, kind of cataloging catalogs. Then the other areas we'll be looking at are synchronizing projects while they're disconnected. So right now we have the WorkShare project family, and one of the nice things about that is it's when they're disconnected. All these WorkShare transfer features are actually live connections to each project. But we still see a need for when they're disconnected. But we want to take what we've done with WorkShare transfer and enhance that to be able to be a workable workflow when they're actually disconnected. So when you have sites that are separate. Want to be able to do things like preview changes in other hulls. So when you're working in sister ships, before you make those changes, you can visualize those changes. Right now we have a nice little dialogue that says, oh, if you pick this and you want to transfer it to this, you can look at the count, you can look at text files. This will be offering a visual aspect to that. Complete all our model type drawings. We don't have them all quite yet, and we're getting there. And production drawings really in the layouts and everything. So these are our plans. These could change. So based on what you guys tell us. One of the things we're doing as well, just looking a little bit further out with WorkShare transfer, is the concept. It's an abstract. It's the mothership of where you have all your project equipment lists and everything. So, and that would relate to your different sister ship projects. Tasks via the PLM associated to the hulls. So you heard a lot about our digital hub and our PLM down the road. Big part of that is being able to unlock and locking of the effective items. We associate with tasks with those things. So you can assign tasks, and they can only do work in certain areas, and the ability to unlock or lock specific pieces of the ShipConstructor models and information. So that's some of the areas around our WorkShare transfer. In terms of the outfitting area, we're in empowered engineering, really looking at seamless transition from functional to a detailed design and enterprise integration, not EnterprisePlatform, but the enterprise. Right now, at the project equipment list, getting information into that, it's basically a manual process. Inputting the we get the P&ID drawings, that's separate. It's not really part of the project equipment list, inputting the project equipment list. So we're really looking at how to automate that, make it more efficient with the 3D modeling. And of course, change management's all part of that as well. And you improve, the goal really is to improve the accuracy and the speed of doing P&ID and project equipment lists to help with the modeling.
Are you talking about P&ID, or are you talking about the plant P&ID?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And of course, the enterprise is sort of pushing a little bit different architecture where we're talking about inputting the project equipment list and the P&ID at the PLM level that really drives the different hulls and different projects. So stepping back for multi-hull management solutions. These are the areas we're trying to figure out. We don't have a solution yet. We know we want to have a solution for these. In terms of structure and hull, call it modernization, improving relationships within structure and hull. What do we mean by that? Stiffener trims to planar group parts, or planar group planes and parts, plates to planar group planes, locations tied to planar group planes, incorporating some elements of parametrics, but not full parametrics. Change in locations, so you're updating parts, profile to profile intersections, plate and profile boundary, other plates. So that's the kind of thing. In the hull, we're looking at working on our hull design surfaces, improving them, the trace construction lines tied to locations. So again, this is sort of parametric-like at least. Hull trace locations, update the planar group locations, and the planar group locations updating the structure parts. Some of the other areas, lifting and turning, we've got some more work to do there, and painted surfaces. We get a lot of requests relating to paint. Really, our plans with lifting and turning are not to, still to interface with other software, FE solvers and that kind of thing. But the goal is, as we mentioned yesterday, optimize human safety, precision to increase the weight and design for lifting and turning, and precise simulations. And some of the specific areas are adding dynamic turning to the static lifting. Right now what we have is fairly static. We need to be able to turn more. Database component for loose or phantom part management, so it's stuff that goes on and comes off. And the feedback loop between the FEA and ShipConstructor, so if we see problems, then use that information to improve the designs for lifting and turning. In terms of painted surfaces, we know paint is expensive. It's got a short shelf life. We want to get to a point where we have a much more precise reckoning of what kind of features in the space, what painted surfaces that are needed, and of course the inner and outer surfaces. So we want to be able to do painted surfaces per compartment to help with that information planning, what's needed and when it's needed. In terms of change management, really, it's all the elements continuing. It's a big part of our product, planning the change, executing the change, identifying where those changes are needed, and reviewing them and controlling that change and communicating that change. So what do we mean? Specific areas of development, our revision viewer, tasks, again, managing change, being able to lock items and unlock items in a managed way, and a project and user management. So who can do that? Who can't do that kind of thing. One of the neat areas Pedro touched on today was sort of distributed teams. There's many different layers where we're attacking this. One is this performance improvements. You've got your remote thin client sort of connectivity. Of course, there's the cloud and virtualization platforms and SQL replication. So what we're looking at here for performance enhancements, again, there's many areas to look at. Transmission times, how does it deal with latency and speed? What kind of data, how much data is being sent across? The number of queries, how chatty is the application with the database? and processing times to do those. So we're chipping off, we're looking where the bottlenecks are and tackling them where we can. I'll just skip through that. Remote desktop solutions, we're really trying to characterize. We've got lots of clients that are trying different things, and we want to understand better what are the limitations. Some architectures are good for certain activities, but not others. So you've got your remote desktop, BNC, TeamViewer. I'll just say others. We know clients are using Citrix, for example, somewhat successfully. So we'd like to know exactly how these are. So we're working on characterizing these. You probably see articles on our knowledge nexus about these things with recommendations, that kind of thing. Some of the more exciting areas, the next step. Right now, ShipConstructor is always close to the database. We know we've got virtualized servers, but they're always on the local area network, your LANs. What do you start doing thin clients when you're connecting with remote desktop and that kind of thing? So what kind of clients are good for that? How do they perform? We're talking about virtualized desktop and servers. So you have everything virtualized in your environment, close together still, but in a different way. And then looking at cloud-based architectures in terms of where things are virtualized. Maybe everything's in the same cloud, or maybe parts are in different clouds. One of the things we're wanting to understand and would love to hear from you about is what are the motivations for you for pursuing these things if you're looking at these kind of solutions. We've heard things, just IT outsourcing. I just want to outsource my IT. I don't have guys who do that. Can I do this? Or is it performance? Or you've got distributed teams in multiple locations and they need to access it. So one thing you'll probably hear some questionnaires from us in the next few weeks, contacting people who've expressed interest in this type of stuff. So, of course, SQL Server replication, where if we have read-only intensive activities, maybe we can look at replicating the server, being able to just access them to take the load off the one where all the writing's happening, the active work. So there's a lot of different dimensions that we can look at distributed work, so we're definitely chipping away at it. I'm not going to put much on the wish list right now. This is where you can influence us. We need to hear from you about these type of areas. We need to see the wish list. When we post things or you post things, we'd like to see more discussion about the motivations behind them. Really take advantage of the wish list. This is the place where we want to see people post ideas, have those concrete discussions. Get your teams aboard and get them to vote. Thank you.